In the course of later talk, the visitor said, "The world sends impressions, and I awake." Maharashi, can the world exist without someone to perceive it, which is prior, the being consciousness or the rising consciousness? The being consciousness is always there, eternal and pure. The rising consciousness rises forth and disappears. It is transient. Devotee. Does not the world exist for others even when I am asleep? Maharaji. Such a world mocks at you also for knowing it without knowing yourself. The world is the result of your mind. Know your mind, then see the world. You will realize that it is not different from the self. Devotee. Is not Maharishi aware of himself and his surrounding as clearly as I am? Maharishi. To whom is the doubt? The doubts are not for the realized, they are only for the ignorant. 16th June 1935. Talk 54. An Andhra Pandit, an elderly gentleman, had some doubts regarding Kavya Kantha's exposition of Advaita. He has found it in books that Brahman is free from Sajatya, Vijatya, and Swagata Bheda. Such conditions are satisfied in Vivarta Vada, but not in a Parinam Vada. In the later, Swagata Bheda is bound to be. The master pointed out that Dakshinamurti didn't teach anything of the kind. He didn't say that Brahman is related to Sakti or not related. All that was only silence, and the doubts of the Sishyas, disciples were cleared. The significance is that there is nothing to be learned, discussed, and concluded. Everyone knows I am. There is the confusion that the I is the body, because the I arises from the absolute and gives rise to buddhi, intellect. In buddhi, the I looks the size and shape of the body. Namedhaya means the Brahman cannot be apprehended by buddhi. Brahman, aham, I, buddhi, intellect. How can such buddhi crossing over aham discover Brahman? It is impossible. Just get over the false conception of the I being the body. Discover to whom the thoughts arise. If the present I-ness vanishes, the discovery is complete. What remains over is the pure self. Compare deep sleep and wakefulness. Diversity and body are found only in the later. In the former, the self remains without the perfect perception of body or of the world. Happiness reigns there. The Shruti Vakya, Aham Brahmasmi, relates to the state and not the mode of mind. One cannot become Brahman by continuing to repeat the mantra. It means that Brahman is not elsewhere. It is yourself. Find that self. Brahman is found. Do not attempt to reach Brahman as if it were in some far off place. The Pandit remarked that thoughts are so persistent that the Aham cannot be reached. The master said, the Brahma Akar Vritti helps to turn the mind away from other thoughts. Either some such practice is necessary or association with sadhus should be made. The sadhu has already overcome the mind and remains in peace. His proximity helps to bring about such condition in others. Otherwise, there is no meaning in seeking a sadhu's company. Deho aham, I am the body, is limitation and is the root of all mean and selfish actions and desires. Brahm aham, I am Brahman, is passing beyond limitation and signifies sympathy, charity, love, etc., which are divine and virtuous. Devotee. How does a grihastha householder fare in the scheme of moksha, liberation? Maharishi. Why do you think you are a grihastha? If you go out as a sannyasi, a similar thought that you are a sannyasi will haunt you. Whether you continue in the household or renounce it and go to the forest, your mind haunts you. The ego is the source of thoughts. It creates the body and the world and makes you think you are a grihastha. If you renounce the world, it will only substitute the thought sannyasi for grihastha and the environments of the forest for those of the household. But the mental obstacles are always there. They even increase in new surroundings. There is no help in the change of environment. The obstacle is the mind. It must be got over, whether at home or in the forest. If you can do it in the forest, why not in the home? Therefore, why change the environment? Your efforts can be made even now, in whatever environment you may be. The environment never abandons you, according to your desire. Look at me, I left home. Look at yourselves. You have come here leaving the home environment. What do you find here? Is this different from what you left? Even if one is immersed in Nirvikalpa Samadhi for years together, when he emerges from it, he will find himself in the environment which he is bound to have. That is the reason for the Acharya emphasizing Sahaj Samadhi in preference to Nirvikalpa Samadhi in his excellent work Viveka Chudamani. One should be in spontaneous samadhi, that is, in one's pristine state in the midst of every environment.